We discussed the situation in the Middle East. Europe welcomes the announcement of a ceasefire. It must be respected by all parties. Restoring stability in the region depends on it, and it depends as well as on Iran's readiness to return to a serious and credible diplomatic process. As you said, Iran must never obtain a nuclear bomb. The negotiating table remains the only viable path forward. At the same time, we cannot lose sight of the humanitarian situation in Gaza, which remains abhorrent and unbearable. Humanitarian aid needs to reach Gaza immediately and unimpeded, at speed and at scale. Europe will keep on calling for a sustainable ceasefire and the release of hostages. Politically, we must keep up the pressure on Russia to engage in serious talks, starting with a real ceasefire, and therefore our 18th sanctions package aims to do that. We should be in a position to have an agreed package soon. At the same time, we are also accompanying Ukraine on its EU path. Under relentless fire, Ukraine is passing reform after reform. It's impressive. And this is why the Commission defends the opening of the first cluster of negotiation. Ukraine has delivered. Now we must too. I would like to reiterate my call to the Hungarian authorities to allow the Budapest Pride to go ahead this Saturday. It is important that it goes ahead without fear of any criminal or administrative sanctions against the organizers or participants. The right to gather peacefully is a fundamental right. It must be upheld in all member states. So to criminalize the organization of the Pride or to impose fines on participants would go against everything we believe as a European Union. I briefed leaders on the current state of play in our trade talks with the United States. President Trump and I had a good discussion at the G7 summit in Canada. Back then, we agreed to speed up the work with a clear goal, an agreement before the 9th of July. Today, we received the latest US document for further negotiations. We are assessing it as we speak right now. So our message today is clear. We are ready for a deal. At the same time, we are preparing for the possibility that no satisfactory agreement is reached. This is why we consulted on a rebalancing list, and we will defend the European interest as needed. In short, all options remain on the table.
Yesterday at NATO, 23 European Union member states decided to spend more. Today, we worked on how to spend better, investing together, more rationally, more efficiently as a team. Through aggregation of demand, joint procurement, standardization and simplification, boosting European research, European industry, European jobs, for European security and prosperity. We don't need to replicate the same capabilities in each member state. We don't need to multiply by 27 all our investments in defense. What we need is efficiency and fair burden sharing. The Commission's assessment is clear. Despite the incredibly difficult circumstances, the Ukrainian government is carrying out reforms and in impressive pace. So now is the time to intensify our work and advance on the path towards European Union accession. At the same time, we are keeping up the pressure on Russia, and we have adopted 17 packages of sanctions. And the work to deliver a new one, powerful package, is well underway. The ceasefire between Israel and Iran is an important step towards restoring stability in the region. Now we need to focus on effective diplomacy. And here Europe has a role to play to ensure in a lasting, sustainable way that Iran is never allowed to acquire a nuclear weapon by fully complying with the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Any overall sustainable peace in the Middle East requires a lasting solution in Gaza. As you know, Israel is a friend, but with friends we need to be frank and open and clear. We have an association agreement, and in the terms of this association agreement, on Article 2, both parts need to respect some values. Nobody can ignore what we watch on TV and what we read in the press. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is completely unacceptable, and that's the reason because the High Representative asks an assessment in the terms of Article 2 of the Association Agreement. The report is very clear. They are a systematic violation by Israel of human rights in Gaza.
You floated the idea of formulating a European-led WTO, an alternative to the WTO.
European what?
A European alternative to the World Trade Organization.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how that would work, and
yes.
would the United States of America be invited to participate?
I presented to the European Council the different possibilities and options that we have now with many other countries that want to do free trade agreements. You're familiar with these. What I also presented is, for me, the most attractive and interesting part is that the CPTPP, so the Asian countries, want to have a structured cooperation with the European Union, and the European Union want the same. And therefore I said that we can think about this as a beginning of redesigning the WTO, of course understanding what should be reformed for the positive in WTO, so not repeating mistakes that might have been done in WTO, but to show to the world that free trade with a large number of countries is possible on a rules-based foundation. And this is a project where I think we should really engage on, because CPTPP and the European Union, this is mighty. So first of all, it's the European Union that has to manage that with CPTPP. As far as I understand, the Americans left at a certain point the CPTPP. What I can say is, look, an agreement is always better than a conflict, and zero tariffs is always better than one tariff. And uncertainty is the worst thing for our economy, and we need to to give certainty to our investors, to our workers, to our companies, as soon as possible.